Concealed Truths Only Shine in the Moonlight. Written by Saihara. Read by Arashi. The raucous cacophony of feet scampering across the cement echoed off the walls of the dilapidated building. The burning in Oma's lungs as his body strained to press onward with each scrape of his frayed shoes against the pavement produced a twinge in his gut, a sharp outcry resounding through the building structure. The thrill only amplified at the perilous sound of his pursuer's footsteps, echoing through the dim moonlight. He turned a corner, stumbling from the absence of air in his lungs, frantically seeking a place to leave him devoid of vulnerability. His body screamed at him to pause, but the adrenaline coursing through his veins and burning his skin urged his body to persist. Oma's brain temporarily ceased its strain as it exhausted him to think, the sight of the broad wall in front of him hindering his meticulous scheme. He was cornered, done for. He'd finally performed that one wrong move that landed him as putty in the detective's hands. No, I'm not cornered, because Kokichi Oma never surrenders, no matter the cost. The agile detective was in front of him in a flash, pressing his back against the cold stone wall. The sounds of their combined panting filled the silence of the dark, abandoned building. Shuichi just stared at him with those dark, alluring, unreadable eyes, hurtling Kokichi into a state of ecstatic delirium. "Looks like you finally got me, huh, Mr. Detective? You're enjoying this quite a lot for a cornered criminal." Oma squirmed under his grip, both hands pinned above his head. If he were wearing his mask right now, his hot breath would cause condensation on the inner lining of the mask. His body was too sickly weak to move, rendering his entire being helpless and vulnerable. But to him, that was part of the fun, the thrill of being trapped with nowhere to hide or escape. It made his blood boil over with excitement. "Yeah, but that's because the game's not over yet." Oma flashed an impish grin through his panting, his lungs still screaming in agony and excitement. "What are you gonna do now that you have me, Mr. Detective? Surely you don't want our game to end so soon," he purred, his chest heaving from exertion. Oma's body was so humid that Saihara could feel the heat radiating off his skin. "You're caught, Joker. I'm taking you in. You can't talk your way out of this one." And at this, Oma let out an amused giggle, a laugh that shook his entire frame under Saihara's grasp. "Geez, don't be so cold to me, Detective. We can play your game," he exhaled shakily, "if you give me one teeny-weeny, itsy-bitsy thing." He grinned again, a bone-chilling grin, receiving a perplexed look from the man above him. Saihara sighed and leaned back enough that his entire weight wasn't pressed onto Oma, but he was still effectively pinned. "You're hardly in the position to be making negotiations. But tell me what it is you want." Silence fell between both of them as Oma's lips slowly, ever so slowly, rose into a malicious smirk, his eyes sparkling with wicked mischief. The way his amethyst irises shone under the moonlight was ethereal, and Saihara thought he looked almost angelic. The dim luminescence accented the angles of his face, sharpening the shadows behind the mask. "A kiss from a pretty detective," he purred as smoothly as a cat, his gaze piercing into Saihara's chest and pulling out his heart, squeezing it between his fingertips. Saihara felt his breath hitch and catch high in his throat, the apples of his cheeks heating up instantly. Saihara immediately surrendered his grip on Oma and stepped back, the keen click of the smaller boy's heels as he stepped forward, reverberating through the dark halls. Joker's hand reached up to cup Saihara's cheek and stroke along his jawline, an airy chuckle falling from his lips. He ran his forefinger down his cheekbones, gently tracing it. Mr. Detective's not so perceptive anymore if he believes such an obvious lie. You must be losing your edge. Really?" Saihara abruptly cut him off by pressing their lips together, Oma's pupils dilating in surprise, bringing a small squeak from his throat. Oma's foreign touch, coupled with the intensity of the oscillation, combined to possibly break Saihara's brain. The feeling of his nerves on fire increased tenfold as a jolt of anxiety shot up his spine, his pulse echoing fast enough in his ears to leave him feeling lightheaded. And I'm kissing a wanted larcenist, and I really should be arresting him. And then all those thoughts melt like hot wax when he feels Oma's teeth skim his bottom lip, and he suddenly stops caring. He felt Oma press his back against the wall as he kissed him deeply and fervently, Oma's teeth leaving small nips across his bottom lip. Not enough to draw blood, but enough that he has Saihara pitifully moaning and arching like putty in his hands. Oma's lips were insistent as they pressed against the detective's, his tongue protruding to prod at Saihara's flushed cheeks. He gasps into Oma's mouth as a hand snaked up under the hem of his shirt, and he feels Oma's smirk against his lips. Heat washed over the detective's entire being like a beach shore in summer, playful purple eyes still glinting even through the barrier of Joker's eyelids. If Shuichi was summer, then spring finally came when the thief's fingers walked up his hips leisurely, cupping his sides and pressing into them. Saihara made no move to recoil, sighing into Oma's mouth at his handiwork. He relaxed his figure against the wall, one of the thief's knees coming to pin itself between Saihara's thighs, eliciting a soft whimper from the male. In a flash, the phantom thief is gone from his previous stance. He swung both legs over the windowsill of the old building, absconding from the scene with no less than an amorous wink and coo as he disappeared into the night. The detective watched as a small note fluttered through the air above his head, quickly snatching it from its descent. It was a white rectangle, roughly 6 by 4 inches, embellished with small ukiyo-esque drawings of the enigmatic thief. It read, "See you soon, Detective Saihara." Saihara sighed and smiled ruefully, pushing their clandestine happenstance to the back of his mind. Of course, it was like Joker to leave him half-hard and drowning in bliss alone in an abandoned warehouse. He pulled out his phone, fingers jostling to press buttons briskly. "Hello? Yeah, he got away." Saihara would swear on his grave he heard a frolicsome chuckle in the distance.